It's a really grey, blustery autumn day today, so I've decided to warm myself up by cooking something really nice. So I've come up to my allotment to see what I've got left over from my seasons of growing, and I'm going to see what's left in the ground or in the greenhouse. I think I might cook myself a risotto. Right, I've come into my greenhouse. I knew I had some onions, but I can see that my husband John has harvested a couple of butternut squash. So I'm just going to take a few of those and make a really nice autumnal risotto. So we're going to start making our risotto now. We've got our beautiful butternut squash, which I need to peel and seed and dice, and then I'm going to put that into a pan with a little bit of stock and get that cooked down so it's quite soft before it actually goes into the risotto. So I've got the butternut squash diced up and ready, and I'm going to have that on the stove simmering while I get the risotto started. What I've actually done is I've got a pan of water, but I've added a stock cube as well just to boost the flavour of the butternut squash. So we're going to put that in now. Mind your fingers. Okay, be aware that it's going to be very hot when you drop that in. So I'm going to get the risotto started by first of all cutting up some onions. So we have these beautiful onions from the allotment, which are lovely and strong. Peel them first. Okay, so to get our risotto started, we've got a nice big chunk of butter. Now the onions are pretty much ready, we're going to add our risotto rice. Now I'm using arborio today. What we're going to do is we're just going to add that into the onions and toast that in the butter a little bit, just to add a little bit of extra flavour. So I'm going to add some wine now. We are going to be adding the stock in a moment, but I want to add a little bit of wine just to begin with. But what you do need to do with the wine is make sure that you cook it off, completely evaporate it before you start adding any stock. So start adding the stock, preferably without the butternut squash, it doesn't really matter too much. And add it a little at a time. I'm going to keep adding stock to my pan with the rice in, a ladle at a time really, and keep your stock hot too. And you probably want to do that for about 20 minutes until your rice becomes literally just cooked, but with a tiny bit of bite in there. So just keep adding that in. And then let that bubble again and reduce down before you add your next lot. do make sure you season your risotto really well, as rice essentially is quite a bland ingredient. We're putting some bold, strong flavours with it, but do make sure you add plenty of sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. So our rice, I think, is pretty much cooked. It's been bubbling for about 20 minutes, but I just do want to check it before I dish it up. So I'm just going to have a little taste just to see. That's really good. That's got a little bit of a bite still to it. So we're going to move on and add the rest of our butternut squash now. So the butternut squash is nice and tender now, and I'm going to add that in to the rice. Now the rice is cooked. There we are, the beautiful colour of the squash really makes you think about autumn. There we are. Once that's all in, stir that through. So the last flavour that we're going to add is a luxurious amount of Parmesan cheese. You can serve it with extra if you like, but we're going to add that in, stir that through, and that's going to melt beautifully in the heat of the rice. This risotto has a lovely loose consistency. If you want it to be a little firmer than that, just add a little less stock. If you want it to be a little bit more runny, then add some more stock. It's totally up to you. The recipe should be just a basis for how you like it. That is delicious.